All right, let's talk about something that's on a lot of people's minds, mutual funds in India. I mean, there are thousands of them out there, so how in the world do you pick the right one for you, especially when you're thinking about the future, like 2026? Okay, let's get into it. First, to get a sense of the scale here, just look at this number, 4.7 lakh crore rupees. That's not a small figure. Get this, that's about 13% of all the capital that Indians currently have invested in mutual funds. It is a massive, massive market.
And when I say it's growing, I mean it's absolutely exploding. Think about this. In just the last 5 years, the whole industry has grown sixfold. 6 times. Wow. So this isn't just some passing trend, you know? It's a real shift in how we're all thinking about building wealth.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with this big boom. Then we'll look at a really common mistake that, let's be honest, a lot of us make. After that, I'm going to walk you through a much smarter way to look at funds, point you to a few to explore, and then we'll wrap it all up with the one key thing you've got to remember. Okay, so we're all riding this huge mutual fund wave. It's exciting for sure, but with literally thousands of funds to choose from, how do you keep from getting completely lost? And that really brings us to the most important question, right? It's not about finding what did well last year. It's about figuring out which fund is built to perform consistently over the long haul. So, how do we actually do that? Well, before we can get to the right way to do things, we have to talk about the wrong way. There is a very common trap that almost every new investor falls into, and it's all about chasing what's already hot. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? We see a fund that had an incredible run last year, and bam, it's the flavor of the season. So we jump in thinking that rocket ship is just going to keep going up. But we all know that fine print, right? Past performance is no guarantee of future results. So you can see the two paths here. The common way is totally reactive. You're just looking at a single number from last year. The smart way, though, is proactive. It gives you the tools to actually understand a fund and judge it for yourself based on what really counts. So let's ditch that old, flawed method. I'm going to give you a simple but really powerful two-part framework that anybody can use. And seriously, it's as simple as this. First, it starts with you. You've got to understand what level of risk you're actually comfortable with. And second, you're going to use 3 specific metrics to judge the real quality of any fund you look at. Okay, step 1, know yourself. This chart is basically your cheat sheet. If you're someone who prefers safety and stability, you'll probably be looking at large cap funds. If you want something more balanced, a mix of growth and stability, then flexi cap funds are a great place to look. And if you've got a really long time horizon and you're okay with some bumps for potentially higher returns, well, then you could explore mid and small cap funds. The key is to know where you fit before you even start looking at funds. So once you know which playground you should be in, you're ready for step 2. And this is where you go from being just another investor to a smart investor, where you look past the splashy one-year return numbers. Let's break down these 3 super useful metrics. First up, roll-in returns. Now, instead of just looking at performance from January 1st to December 31st of one year, which can be super misleading, this metric is way smarter. It averages out the fund's returns over tons of different overlapping periods across the last 3 years. This smooths out any lucky streaks and gives you a much more honest picture of how the fund actually performs over time. Next is consistency. I love this one. Think of it like a professional driver versus a teenager who just got their license. A consistent fund is like that pro driver, smooth, predictable, and control even when the road gets bumpy. An inconsistent fund is, well, it's a wild ride. You're not sure if they're skilled or just getting lucky. This metric basically tells us how disciplined a fund's performance is. A higher score here means you've probably got a real pro behind the wheel. And finally, our third metric is outperformance, or what the pros call alpha. So imagine you're in a race. Just finishing the race is like matching the market's performance. You did okay. But what if you not only finished, you beat the average time by a lot? That extra bit, that's alpha. It's the measure of a fund manager's skill in actually beating the market. A high alpha means you've got a star athlete on your team. All right, so now you have the framework, right? Know your risk, then check the rolling returns, the consistency, and the alpha. So let's look at a few funds mentioned in the source material that you can use as a starting point to practice these new skills on. So here we've got 5 funds that cover a whole bunch of different categories. You've got a flexi cap, a large cap, a small cap, a mid cap,
and even a more specialized children's benefit fund. This is a great list to start with to apply everything we just talked about.
And I cannot stress this enough. This is not a list of hot tips. The goal here wasn't to tell you what to buy. It was to empower you with a method. So think of this list as your first assignment. Go look up their rolling returns, find their consistency score, see what their alpha is. Do the work. So, as we bring it all home, let's just boil this all down to the single most important message. The big shift we're talking about is moving from being a passive follower to an active, knowledgeable investor who's in control. And this is it. This is the whole point. Stop chasing the flavor of the season. Instead, use this framework to find a fund that has proven its quality over time through thick and thin, and, most importantly, a fund that actually makes sense for your personal goals and your comfort level. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. You have a powerful new toolkit now. The next time you're looking at a fund, which one of these metrics, rolling returns, consistency, or outperformance, are you going to check out first? The answer will tell you a lot about what you truly value as an investor.